Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's the Beast of North here, back at it again for the first time with a new series separate from Minewreckers. This is the TerraFirmaCraft mod, along with a few other mods in the specific mod pack I downloaded. I'll have a link to the mod pack in the description, as well as I think I'll include a link to the TerraFirmaCraft Wiki, just because I'm not an expert on this mod. I mean, I've played it before, I know a lot, but I don't know everything, and I'm also not going to be explaining everything, so if, I do something that you don't understand, and I don't explain it, that'll be a resource readily available there. Like, see right here, I'm collecting these rocks, which is obviously not in the vanilla game. Something else I need to mention is that this is a, recording over this audio. Or this audio is recorded after this because my recording software messed up while I was initially recording this, and so I got all of the footage perfectly intact and the game sounds, but it did not record a lick of my own voice. So we're gonna see how this turns out this time around, at least. I'll be doing my best to remember what I'm doing as I'm doing it, sort of thing. Like right here, I'm breaking the leaves beforehand because I want to make sure I get a sapling from this tree. And in this mod, if you just destroy the tree, it's also kind of got like a tree capitator sort of thing with it, where if you just destroy the bottom one, the whole tree goes. But if you destroy it without destroying the leaves beforehand, the leaves just instantly vanish and you don't get any drops. So if you want saplings or sticks from them, you have to punch a few beforehand. And something else too, if you saw earlier, I grabbed those rocks and napped them together is what it's called, where, in real life, take two, I think it's normally flint is what's normally used as opposed to just regular rocks, but, beat them together until you make a tool out of it. Normally it's things like knives and spearheads and such, but in this game one of the most important tools you get first is an axe. So yeah, there's no wooden tools, and there's also no stone pickaxe. If you see here, I went into the map. Most of that map is false, because I had another world with this same name beforehand, and it kind of saved that map data. So it's like, as I go to explore those certain areas, it'll change to what the map actually is. But in the meantime, when I look at it, it'll show what the map used to be on the old world. Which is, of course, something else I'm going to be using here. Here we see I spawned right next to a banana tree. But I will be using a mini-map mod, as well as a world map, and of course I'll be using a lot of waypoints here, because you really have to explore a lot in this mod in order to get stuff, because you need a lot of resources in order to get copper tools, and then up to bronze, and then up to, iron, and then steel, and everything. So, and most of those resources tend to not spawn next to each other. So you really have to explore really far away. But, clay is also a very important resource in this mod. Base game, clay is just kind of an aesthetic resource, basically. But in this one, you need clay in order to progress, to get any metal tools. Clay is also very good for some early game storage. And I don't think I had decided it yet, but that small little pond to the left there, right where I'm at right here, is where I'm going to end up building my base. At least my temporary base, before I get tools and can build a base that's away from a fresh water source. And I think right now I'm basically just hopping around looking to see what would be the best direction for me to start heading off into, to start trying to find materials. And there, up to the render distance, because it was very small. Like I said before, I will not be explaining, everything about the mod, but I'll try to explain some important things. Especially right there, I just found some grain, at least some seeds for some grain. Is very important, because similar to the base game, I mean, it's not just wheat, but there's other types of grain, but you need grain in order to start domesticating animals. And ooh, right here I found a bunch of coal and platinum. And I think I also decided right then and there that platinum is going to be the currency I'll be using in this, which is another important point to make. Starting out, this is going to be just like primitive survival, basically, like as the mod implies. Oh, there I found my first little bit of copper, but as the mod implies with its part of its description, it calls it survival mode as it should have been. You've got hunger and thirst, and you gotta collect resources and actually survive in a realistic manner instead of what Minecraft offers. So it's gonna start out as a primitive survival, but then once I hit the Bronze Age, I will be changing my skin as well as actually no, that's all I was doing. Sorry. I had an idea in mind of what I was going to be doing for this whole series. And so starting out, until I hit the Bronze Age, I'm wearing that caveman skin. But then once I hit the Bronze Age, I will change it to a different skin. And then once I hit the Iron Age, I will be doing a couple of things. Or a few things. I will change the skin again to be more fitting. I will turn on difficulty, at first just to easy, but then as things go on, so disregard that. That is not going to be my future base. I might build something cool there, but I decided against that in the end. But I will be turning the difficulty up because at least right now I'm thinking, this is supposed to be a realistic survival situation, and a bunch of zombies and skeletons and endermen coming after you isn't very realistic. It would also make things very difficult, even if I did only put it on easy, because it takes a while before you can get your first bed in this. You can't just kill a sheep for wool. In this one, if you kill a sheep, you get a sheepskin. You have to, skin it, basically, to get the wool off. Then you have to, unbundle the wool, and then take the yarn, and then, sew it into sheets, and then you can make a bed. And it's a lot of steps that you need metal tools in order to achieve. But along with that, I also have the custom NPCs mod installed in this. I don't think it was initially a part of this mod pack. I added that on myself separately. Oh, and that right there, I found some bismuth. But what I have in mind is once I hit the Iron Age, I will give myself the tools for the custom NPCs mod so that I can start making some NPCs to trade with and defend the area, basically. I will, of course, not use this in a cheating manner. I'm not gonna, give one of them a trade to give them dirt in exchange for a copper ingot or something. I will actually be making coins, like I said, probably out of platinum. Because platinum, as far as I can remember, is relatively useless as a actual tool, or as an actual metal for things. And I'll try my best to come up with an economy within this world for what these platinum coins will be worth in exchange for certain items. So on one hand, it will, make things somewhat easier, that I'll, be able to sell things in exchange for currency and then use that currency to buy more materials that I might be short on, but I will not make it overpowered in any way. I don't have a specific parameter yet, but like I said, I'm probably going to start it just on easy difficulty, and then in the future, I think I'll just wing it to see how I'm feeling, and then bring it up to normal and then hard, as I eventually just build up like a whole society. So overall, I think it's going to be a very fun time. Like I said, I've played this mod back before. I've never really had like a specific goal in mind for it before, so I think this is going to be fun. Oh, it's so slow starting out with stone tools. Since this is coming from the future, and I guess a minor spoiler, I've gotten some metal, but now that I have metal tools and I'm like looking back on it, I'm just like, wow. It was seriously so painful looking back with the stone tools, how slow they were. Raw green beans. Delicious. But yeah, it's like, without metal, what else are you supposed to do? So I forgot about that. That tree didn't give me a single sapling. This is not that bad. It's a Hevea log, or however you pronounce it. That's not even in the base TFC mod. It was in like a TFC add-on. And like, you can't even use it to make planks or anything. Like, I think its main purpose was like literally just to be used as fuel. Actually, I think you could make planks out of it, but it wasn't its own wood type. I think it just like turned into pine if you made planks out of it. And here I am just snapping together some more tools. I made 2 knives there with 1 stone. It's a special achievement and resource effective. I made a hammer, shovel, another axe head, and a hoe. And this very first episode will not be as exciting as any of the others, because it's a lot of me just wandering around, looking for things, marking things. And it's not even till the end that I start to see that I've had something of, not even a base, but at least a place to live put together, I can't even call it a base, because even now I don't even have like an actual structure built. It's just a bunch of stuff scattered around, which is pretty much the best way to try and survive in TFC. Because otherwise, right now, if I try to build a base, like the only thing I could build would be like a very small structure with like thin plank walls and like a straw roof, that entities can pass through straw as well, so it wouldn't even do that much to begin with. Oh, I found iron. And iron is an amazing thing to find in this mod. In some cases it's a bit rarer. In a couple other ways it's also more common than iron in the base game, because it's harder to find, but like when you do find some, chances are it's a really big vein most of the time. But it's also significantly more useful than iron in the base game. So once you hit the Bronze Age, you can make a bloomery, and then throw the raw iron chunks and some coal in there, or I think it had to be charcoal specifically, and heat it up, and I think it was after 12 in-game hours it became like raw iron that you then had to beat the impurities out of, and then you had wrought iron, which before you get to any of the steels or anything is definitely the best material in the game. And you want to have a lot of iron. And you need a lot of iron in order to even get steel. Also, I think I said this at this point, I love the blue orchids so much. Like their old texture, before, oh dear, whatever update it was that changed like all the flower textures. Like, the blue orchid now is still kind of cool, but there's something about what the blue orchid looked like beforehand that I love so much more. Just those kind of like hanging bells, I guess you could call it. I think it's like what those other flower types are called. That's why I love the lily of the valley so much in its current stage. Something about the, like, drooping flower shapes is very appealing to me. When I think I remember this, I think I was saying I was going to go here to build my base, or set up shop, basically, but then I got there and I saw it was salt water. And here we are, back at spawn, exactly where I was, and I was like, hey, I'll go ahead and build my base here. But at this point I realized, wait a minute, why am I punching this grass? I need to be making knives so that I can get straw out of it. And I guess I got all those dandelions too. Which I do enjoy the dandelions as well. They're just not my favorite flower. I'd say probably with the amount of flowers that I'll be able to find in this mod pack, they probably are up there among some of my favorites, but definitely not my most favorite. And here I am just planting all the saplings. There's something else about this mod. If I ever take a moment to pause long enough on one of those saplings, you'll see a little tooltip at the top that says, like 10 days remaining. It's not random whenever those saplings grow. They take a specific amount of time. And same with animals as well, actually. You don't just feed them some wheat and then out pops a baby. They have to first trust you enough, so you have to have fed them a lot of grain beforehand for them to be familiarized with you, and then feed them some additional grain. They'll do the little hearts thing, but then the female will become pregnant, and you'll see a tooltip at the top again saying when the baby is due. And I think when I ended up getting my wolves, it said the puppies were due August 10th. Which I guess, another little bit of a spoiler there. I got some wolves later on. Although I do showcase that in this episode, just not for a little while. But I thought it was cool because my birthday's August 12th. I was like, wow, very close. And it also isn't just a very minor thing. It isn't full months in this mod. It's like, I think I have it set to like there's 15 days in each month. But there is full 12 months, and there's seasons which affect crop growth. Also affect if your food spoils faster or not. Like it spoils faster in summer but slower in winter. But here I am now, similar to the napping, except opposed to hitting 2 stones together, you're taking five clay chunks and like molding it together to make things. So they're made of vessel, which is useful for storage, like I said. Here I'm making a water jug, so that I have a portable source of water with me. And I think the rest of them that I made was basically just tool molds and some other smaller vessels. Like those ones can be carried around and they have slightly less storage than the large vessel. Yeah, in order to get metal tools, you have to take one of those like handheld vessels, fill it with enough ore, heat it up in one of those kilns like I'm doing right now, and then take a mold and fill it from the vessel. But basically what's happening here is you place down the clay stuff in a hole in the ground, place 8 things of straw and then 8 logs on top of it, and set it on fire. And then after, I think it's 8 in-game hours, they pop out. And right here I was basically measuring what tool molds I think would be best to start out getting first. Ended up with a pickaxe. Good choice. Oh, I made some bowls. And I don't think I make any other tool molds till later. And I was very glad with my spawn that I had oak and hickory nearby, because oak is useful in making tannin, which is useful in getting leather, and hickory is just a pretty wood type. I remember this, I was so upset I messed up here. I was trying to make a saw mold, and I accidentally took out one, like, extra chunk on there. So that was just 5 clay chunks wasted, basically. Because, like, when you're, like, molding the clay like that, once it shows a recipe, it immediately takes the clay away, even if you, like, take the rest of it out. Overall, thinking back on it, this was a very, very lucky spawn. Got all that clay nearby, had that iron nearby. It's a, like, full-on grass instead of dry grass, because animals won't eat dry grass. It has to be like the moist lands like this with full grass. I learned that the hard way. In one of the other times I played, had some sheep in a little animal hole with dry grass, and I was like, why aren't they ever eating the grass to regenerate their wool? So that's one useful tip from me to you for this. So I made a saw, a chisel, a knife, and a hammer. Very useful first tools to make. Now just gotta light the rest of them up. Oh, I guess I'm making even more molds at the moment. All in all, I'm not sure if I mentioned this, but I am very excited to start this series. Even if it might take away from Mindwrecker's time, I'm like, I kind of need some time to myself, and I really enjoy this mod pack, but I, for some reason, had never felt very motivated to continue in worlds that I play on, like, after I hit Bronze Age, or like after I get some of my first iron tools. And I think that having it in a series to record for other people to enjoy, for me to like have some actual like ground rules that I have to play by, would really help me with all that. Would help me with motivation to keep going, sort of thing. And like I said, I also just really enjoy the mod pack, especially blacksmithing, because like, you know, can't just take a couple of ingots in this and put it in a certain shape and out comes a pickaxe. You take a single ingot, take it to an anvil, hammer it into shape. It's a very fun minigame, even if it is kind of difficult at times. It's also always been a goal of mine every time I play this to get all 9 of the fruit tree saplings, which I think so far I've gotten like, I found like 4 of them at this point in the recording. But another minor spoiler alert, I did find all 9 nearby. Also, this was an amazing spot right here. I found kaolinite so close, and galena. Lead is useless. I know there's like one of the extra mods I have has a chance, or not a chance, but like an option to like extract silver from galena, I think, but I don't know how. Since I have so much nearby, I might try and look it up to figure it out. But like, otherwise, nah. It's just useless. But it's good that I found that kaolinite right there, right next to my current base, because kaolinite is necessary in order to get more advanced tools and stuff like steel. Oh, and here I found some of my first berry bushes. They're blueberries, which was nice. And you know, there's no like, another olive tree, there's no like particular benefit for different berries or different fruits. I just like having all of them, and I just have some favorites among them. Like, I think, yeah, strawberries are my favorite of the berries that are available in this. something else too I don't think we've really seen yet is that there's like gravity for regular blocks in this game. More galena. Which I think I was trying to show off there, but for some reason the dirt didn't fall. But it's supposed to be like if you pillar up with dirt blocks, some of them will like just fall beneath you into a giant dirt pile. On here I was overjoyed that I found potatoes. Because I love potatoes. And another thing with having all the fruits and stuff, even if there's like, not a specific difference between any of them in some way, it's also like, some of them grow at different speeds, some of them grow at different times. So, if you're low on fruit during autumn, and here's when I decided to do some hunting. But like if you're low on fruit during autumn, is you have like blueberry bushes. I'm just kind of spitballing here. I don't remember when they actually grow, but maybe blueberry bushes don't grow in autumn, but an elderberry bush would. So it's just good to have all types of them because of that. And there is also like a taste mechanic in this game. Like your character is provided at the beginning when you start, like some random taste buds basically. And as you level up your cooking skill, because there's also skills in this mod, you will become a better cook and be able to better understand your own tastes. And it's like when you cook food that you enjoy the taste of, it like, it saturates you more. It's more appealing for your body. And here I found even more iron. But I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, man, all of this iron, but I still haven't found a lick of copper. Which is like, I need copper before I can even get iron, so... And there, I got a little bit weakened because I'm starting to get super hungry. And I don't have any food on me. And look at that, all my kilns have finished. So here I am making a campfire. And cooking the meat. And as you can see, that is very, very limited storage. Because it's like... It's only 9 slots for all this stuff you get. And some stuff can't even fit in there because it's like too large. Here I am finally tilling some soil to get some crops going. Can't notice those little bars beneath the food there. Those represent the like freshness, like the quality of the food and the amount of it. Like the green bar on top is how fresh it is, and the white one is the amount. I think the maximum there can be in a single food item is 160 ounces. So you can have a single food item that you can eat several times off of depending how much there is. And as the food starts to degrade, you can cut off the like rotten bits, which will of course, lower how much food is there, but would also be better in the long run, so it doesn't all spoil. But right here I was saying I'm stopping the recording here. I'm gonna go off exploring to try and find some copper, and saying that I will resume recording if anything interesting happens. Yeah, here's the first interesting that happened. I stopped by, found a cherry tree full of cherries, of course. Oh, as well, I got a bit of basalt fell off of one of the chunks in there. Which basalt is one of the type of stones that I can make a stone anvil out of. Which is very good, because otherwise I didn't have anything nearby my base that I could make an anvil out from. But this one right here is also great because I think this was my first bit of fruit that I got. Like, of course I had, the fruit bushes and such, but this was my first actual bit of fruit that had grown that was ready for me to eat. But that was all that I found here, so I will stop on the recording again, and we'll stop again when something else interesting happens, which has happened here. I believe what happened here was, after all my time exploring, my inventory got full. Yep, inventory is full of stuff, and I had to turn around and leave. But it was at this point, I had already gotten my wolves, or I think... Okay, yeah, I did get multiple. I think I had a male and 2 females. It might have been just 1. But I got all sorts of other things. I got corn, I got strawberry bushes, which, like I said earlier, you know, strawberries are my favorite berry that's in this mod. Got all sorts of new crops. Like corn, jute, which is used for making ropes. I think I got some soybeans, which can be used to make like early game milk, early game dairy products, you know, soy milk. But I think that was everything I had for this episode. As you can see from all those colorful dots all over, I found a lot of things that I've marked. Lots of new minerals, other crops, other fruit trees. Like I said, I found all 9. But otherwise, that is the end of this episode. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.
Try to catch me howling at the moon.